In this problem, I'm going to find the integral of x squared over the square root of 1 minus x squared times dx. Now, this is definitely one of the harder problems. It uses a lot of calculus trig identities. I'm going to write out the ones that we're going to be using in this video. So we have sine squared of u is equal to 1 minus cosine of 2 theta over 2. We also have, well, as we all know, cosine squared of t plus sine squared of t equals 1. That means that when you have it in the form of 1 minus x squared, we can say that x equals sine of x, or that x equals sine of u, and that would mean that the square root of 1 minus x squared would equal cosine of u, because when you solve for this, you get it in this form. The last thing we're going to need to know is that cosine of 2 theta is equal to cosine of 2 theta times 1/2 is equal to sine of 2 theta times 1/4. Sorry about that camera angle. So I'm just going to say it's equal to sine of 2 theta over 2, but really we're going to be using it in this problem in this form when you just multiply it by 1/2. That is it. Okay. And then, of course, there's going to be some more basic ones that I hope you already know. So now to get started with the problem. So if I want this to be in the, just looking at the square root of 1 minus x squared, I immediately see that it looks a lot like square root of 1 minus x squared. So I'm going to say that x is going to equal 3 sine of, I guess I'll just call the variable theta over here. That way, we will have d of x equals 3. The derivative of sine is cosine of theta. And now we'll also have theta equals x over 3. And then it'll be sine to the negative 1, or sine inverse. Okay. So now we're ready to get started with the problem. Again, I chose x to be sine of 3 theta. That way when we square it, we can just take out the 9. So now we will have f of 3 sine of theta over the square root of 9 minus 3 sine theta squared. That would be 9 sine squared theta. Dx is equal to 3 cosine theta d theta. And we've basically done the hard part over here. Looking at this part right over here, the square root of 9 minus 9 sine squared of theta, I can say that this is equal to the square root of 9 times 1 minus sine squared of theta. And now you see the whole reason why I made x equal 3 sine theta, because now I could say it's equal to 3 times the square root of 1 minus sine squared of theta. And we said sine squared of theta is equal to cosine, so this is equal to 3 cosine theta. So I'll have the integral of 3 sine theta over 3 cosine theta times 3 cosine theta d theta. You can see how all of these cancel out. And we are just, this is not a 3 up here. This up here is a 9. That was a very silly mistake. With all these problems, just one silly mistake can really and the entire thing over here. And this is squared also because it's x squared. And if it wasn't, we just use u substitution. Okay, so now we need to find the value of 9 times the integral of sine squared of theta d theta. And what are we going to do there? Of course, we're going to use some more definitions that we have. So remember how I wrote over here sine squared of u equals 1 minus cosine of 2 theta over 2. I am going to plug that in over here. So it's going to be 9 times the integral of 1/2 minus cosine of 2 theta over 2 d theta. And that right there, I'm going to what I'm going to do there is I'm just going to evaluate each of these separately. So it's going to be 9 times theta over 2, so that's derivative is 1/2 minus, and now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to need to figure out the integral of cosine of 2 theta over 2. Now remember how we have it over here. It's equal to sine of 2 theta over 4. So I'm just going to plug that in over here. Minus sine of 2 theta over 4. And now, since we took the integral, we get rid of that d theta. And now it's just plus c. And I need to put this theta back into terms of x. So it would be 9 theta equals the sine inverse of x over 3. Over 2 minus, now sine of 2 theta, that is equal to sine of theta times cosine of theta. So it's going to be sine of theta equals x over 3. And then we could do our little triangle over here. We have some theta over here, so that the sine of it is x over 3. This right here is going to be the square root of 9 minus x squared. So cosine of theta is going to be square root of 9 minus x squared over 3. So this is going to be times x, 9 minus x squared over 9 plus c. And that right there is the answer to our very complicated integral. Thank you much for watching, and goodbye.